And welcome, UMass fans. This is WMUA Sports. My name is Colin Cronin. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Andy Isabella, UMass Football's very own. Andy, you've been having a crazy last couple of weeks. Started off with that last game in Georgia, obviously, to finish the season. Then you get a call. You send it right back down there a couple of days later with our SID, Cody Lowe. What has it been like last couple of weeks with all that stuff going on?
It's been crazy. I mean, just flying around everywhere and still trying to handle school and stuff. But, I mean, it's been fun. It's been a good experience.
Cool. You got to end good with the academic schedule. You got all your finals straightened out?
Oh, yeah, and finishing Friday, hopefully with the degree.
Awesome. Finishing up Friday. So, a lot of fans out there, they know what you've been up to this year. Obviously, you've had your best season at UMass. Obviously, you started having a good time here. Sophomore year when you finally got that. Started getting reps at wide receiver, so on and so forth. But this year, real quick, you led the FBS in receiving yards, 1,698. Second in the FBS, 102 receptions. And then you were fifth with 13 touchdowns. Most people don't know, though, your journey to becoming the best receiver in college football started 571 miles away in Cleveland, Ohio, and word on the streets that you weren't highly recruited coming out.
Yeah, it was a long journey for sure. I mean, I was running back in high school, and I was a little guy, so a lot of coaches would come in and be like, maybe you'll get hurt too much playing running back, so they really didn't really have much receiver play at Mayfield, so I mean, a lot of guys probably passed up on me. So I waited around. I mean, I had a couple FCS offers, but I waited around for the UMass offer. I got a UMass offer late and ended up taking it.
So what was that like? How did you find out? How did Coach Whip reach out to you?
Yeah, so I had a friend that went to Cleveland Heights, and he was recruited by at UMass, and he was going to UMass. And his coach, I was friends with his coach's son. I was helping him and do a track. He was 2 years younger than me, and he set me up with Coach Whip. And like 5 days before signing day, he called me on the phone, and I was working out, and he was like, he said, we're going to offer you a scholarship. And then he goes into like talking about the school, and I was like, I'll take it. And he was like, what? and then he was just like, all right, cool. And he hung up the phone, and then he called me a couple days later and was like, all right, we have the papers for you to sign. And then electronically did it over the computer and signed, and then I was off to UMass.
So you were mid-workout, you get a phone call from Coach Whip, says, you want to come to UMass, and you didn't even hear the whole pitch, and you were already like, I'm coming?
It was like a prayer answer, because a lot of FCS schools would come in, and they were getting mad at me for not accepting their offer, because they would think like, oh, he's not going to get a D1 offer, so why isn't they're taking my FCS offer? It's like a full ride, and they're like, wow, he's wasting opportunity to play, and they're getting pretty pissed at me. I actually ended up signing or committing to Lafayette, because a lot of people were saying like, you're not gonna get another offer. So I was like, I'll commit to Lafayette, and then once I get my D1 that I know I will, I'll just flip on them, which is probably stupid, but I didn't tell anyone. So the guy actually called my dad. Was like, because I didn't tell my dad. He called my dad. He's like, oh nice, he's coming to Lafayette. And my dad my dad started saying like, oh, like, I'm sorry, like, we're just taking our time. He had no idea. He was pissed at me after, because the guy was, like, told that we signed, and that was done. That was it with that, because I told him, like, sorry, it's over.
So you were scheming that whole time. I just didn't tell anyone.
So luckily, God answered my prayer with a late offer 5 days before signing day, because I didn't think I was going to go anywhere.
You're a very humble guy. I was going to ask you real quick. Social media, you have little to no activity. Some guys love it. Some guys not so much. What's your philosophy behind that?
Well, you see guys posting their whole life on there, so like it's like, man, I don't want people to know like everything, like my whole life. That's personal stuff. Like some of that's personal stuff. So, but I like using it as more like an inspirational thing. Like I think more guys like to use it to like boost themselves up and like make them feel good about themselves. But I like to use it. The way I like to use it is try to like inspire other people to do things that are not ordinary, I guess.
So one of the things we do notice is that one of your 3 Instagram posts, you do have your receivers head coach, Leonard Hankerson. What's the inspiration? Why'd you put him on there?
Because he's been an inspiration to me, just where he's been. I mean, he's played in the NFL, and he's so passionate about what he does, everything he does. He's passionate about playing. He's very passionate about coaching and helping us get better every day. And he's the same. He's the same every day. His intensity never wavers, and he's always the same. He's always trying to get us better.
It's very cool. So we actually wanted to ask you too. This year, despite all your ridiculous stats you had from start to finish, you were actually playing with 3 different quarterbacks kind of throughout the year. Obviously, you had Comis and Andrew Ford early on, and then you had a game with Michael Curtis. So that's a lefty, a righty. You got a tall guy, 6'3". Comis listed at 6 feet. Not really sure about that. But what was that like? Like week to week, you were having a completely different approach as far as a receiver.
Luckily, I had really good relationships with all three of them. All summer, I was working out and throwing with Curtis. The other two guys, they don't want to hurt their arm, so they're not throwing a lot during the summer. But I was throwing a lot with Curtis all year. So when that time came for Curtis to play, I think we had a really good connection, and we could have even connected more if he had more time back there. We were blowing out Charlotte, so we were running the ball a lot. But even the other guys, I had good relationships with them and talked to them a lot and practiced with them a lot. And I practiced with Ross. Ross was a starter sophomore year, so that was all Ross really practicing. So I had a good relationship with him. And then Ford, obviously, all junior year really playing with Ford. So. And
what's it like going from some games obviously playing here at McGurk, Gillette? What's it like going into one of those SEC matchups where you're looking around and going, wow, this is 100,000 people about to watch me play football? How does that change your mindset going into the game?
I usually have the same mindset going in. I'm just playing as hard as I play every play. But, it is different. You get a little bit more juiced up, and, it's a lot faster paced in those SEC games.
All right, so you've done a ton since you got here at UMass, came in, like we said, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio to UMass. Where's your next step? What's your next plan right now? You obviously just wrapped up finals. What's the next step for Andy Isabella?
Finishing Friday, and then driving back to Cleveland, and then I'm flying to L.A. to meet with my agent, and then we're going to plan some stuff out, and then I'll be home till December 26th. Then going to Tampa to train with Randy Moss and the AISP. So Randy Moss is the receiver coach down there with Yo Murphy. And then there till the Senior Bowl. And then after the Senior Bowl, we'll see if I want to go back there and train for the combine or head somewhere else.
Wow, that's amazing. So training with Randy Moss down in you said Miami?
Yeah, or Tampa.
Tampa. Wow, that is gonna
be cool.
That is gonna be a dynamic duo right there. Randy Moss and Andy Isabella. I can't. You better take videos of that stuff, right? You got it. Someone's got to see that.
Instagram posts.
There you go. So he's got a little bit more height on you, but you guys both like going deep all the time. So I'm sure that'll be a good matchup. So right before we exit here, though, Andy's been nominated for six All-American awards. Reading them off real quick. First team Walter Camp Football Foundation. First team Football Writers Association of America. First team Pro Football Focus. Second team Associated Press. Second team Sports Illustrated. Second team Sporting News of America. So Andy Isabella, all-time great UMass football player, wrapped up with a phenomenal senior year in that final game in Georgia, 15 catches, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's been a pleasure watching you play football from up in the press box, on TV, and even from the stands out here in McGurk. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.